And if I remember, yeah, will probably be posted via D2L. So if you're not here and they're made in class, but I don't post them to D2L, you still have total access to that information. Because, if you just saw, I just started recording. I record every class. I've done this for over 10 years, and I put them all on YouTube. Your class will have a separate playlist just for this class. Within 2 or 3 hours after the end of class today, I'll have this uploaded to YouTube. I'll have a playlist created. I'll send you the link to the playlist. That'll be in the announcements, okay? Whenever you miss class, you can go back and scroll through those announcements, find that playlist, or you can just bookmark it, and find the discussion for that day. And if you want to, if you're really weird and can't get enough of me, you can go back and look at all the others. I've got people literally around the world who have no lives because they watch my class lectures. Anyways, I started doing that because, I don't remember, I was having health issues, and so I, rather than get behind, I was able to post stuff. Anyways, so everything's recorded and everything's online, or everything will be online. If I do have to miss class or something, I already know one day, maybe more, because I'm going to have surgery on my elbow and my hand. I might end up posting a class discussion from a previous semester so that we don't get even farther behind. I could show you a syllabus from last semester where, I don't remember, something happened. And I got like COVID, but it wasn't COVID. For about a week and a half, just felt dead. And I didn't have material for some reason to post or couldn't find it. And we got way behind, so I was compressing and deleting and things like that. So it's your trick to keep, track of those changes, etc. Students with disabilities, you know who you are, you know what you need to do, so do what you need to do. Cell phones, laptops, I'm not going to say much about. Please read this. Don't text, don't take selfies. You think that's crazy, right? I had a student a couple of years ago. She sat like in that back right corner, and I'm not kidding, every day for the first 2 weeks, 15, 20 minutes, beginning class, she sat there and took selfies. And I'm like, really? Think of the background. Okay, you might be the most gorgeous person in the world, but you still got this god-awful ugly background behind you. Come on. And she eventually left when I embarrassed her enough, and I will. Don't. There's something in there somewhere about not falling asleep. I think it's somewhere down here. Because I have literally gone up to students before, sitting in the front row, head down, snoring, and done that. Wakes them up real quick. I've also thrown erasers at people, Probably couldn't do that today because I'd probably get sued and fired and all that kind of stuff. So, cell phones. One caveat to that. If you're an EMT, volunteer fire department, paramedic, whatever, let me know, and I'll just say, just keep your phone out, keep it on silent, so when it vibrates and you look at it and you get a startled look on your face and you get up and leave, I'll understand, no questions asked, okay? One caveat. Second one, and I should add, I may have to leave immediately, like today. If my wife calls, I'm getting my stuff, I'm gone. Mother-in-law fell, probably had another stroke, can't lean to the right, started slurring speech, etc. So, this is a nice segue to this. If right now, someone in your family or someone close to you, boyfriend, girlfriend, roommate, whatever, has some kind of emergency situation ongoing, medical situation, that kind of thing, let me know within the next couple of days. Right? If it's really major, really, significant, if, a cut doesn't count. Pregnant? Yes. Cancer diagnosis? Yes. Chemotherapy? Yes. Car wreck? Yes. Stabbing? Yes. All these are examples I've had. Shooting? Yes. Overdose? Yes. Suicide? Yes. Suicide attempt, yes. Okay. Let me know. Take care of what needs to be taken care of, obviously. So if that's happening now, if you're in that situation now, because obviously if you are, that's probably putting a little bit of stress on you also. Let me know, okay? Why? I'll do everything I can. I will bend over backwards. And believe me, with my 60-year-old body, it is almost impossible to do anymore. I will bend over backwards to make it possible to you to do the best you can in this course. That may mean you're not physically here for the rest of the semester. I mean, it may literally mean I will never see your face again. And you keep track of everything online and you do the quizzes, and I give you some leeway in terms of, when things are due. Okay? I've done it before, I'll do it again. Similarly, so that's if that's happening right now. If something happens in the course of the semester and you find yourself in that situation, someone dies, someone gets, again, these aren't wild examples. Someone gets a cancer diagnosis, someone gets stabbed, shot, beat, all those things, okay? Take care of the immediate situation that you are involved in. Because it might be you're the one there, all right? Get them to the hospital, call the police, call the whatever. But within like a couple of days, shoot me an email. You don't have to go into all the gory detail. Just, I've had a situation arise. My father's in the hospital. My mother's in the hospital. My girlfriend's pregnant. My boyfriend, whatever. Okay? Just give me the gist of it. And I'll say, okay, you got an exam coming up. Don't worry about it. I'll give you extra time. Because I will. All right? Let me know. You got to let me know, again, within a couple of days. Student last fall. Something happened middle of September. Student didn't contact me until just before Thanksgiving break. That student had already missed an exam and several quizzes. Student missed the exam, I emailed him. Didn't get a response. I emailed again about a week later. Didn't hear anything. I assume the student just dropped. Happens. And then Thanksgiving comes and, oh, sorry, I meant to tell you, and at that point, it's too late, okay? Let me know. Okay? If you want to use your laptop to take notes, that's fine. My syllabus for my 2 upper division classes, I included these studies. I don't know why I don't have them in here. I've got about a half dozen studies I could send to you that show that students who take notes by hand, they retain the information better than if you do it this way. If you do it this way, you're just acting like a recorder. Garbage in, that's me, that's my output, is your garbage in, becomes garbage still in. But if you're writing it, you're filtering, because you can't write everything I say. You might be a good enough typist, okay? So I suggest taking notes by hand. By the way, notice what that presumes. Taking notes. It is strongly encouraged. All right? You can read all the classroom decorum stuff on your own. More than likely, I will close the door 5 or 10 minutes after class begins. Once it's closed, it's closed. If you show up 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I've had students do this in a 55-minute long class, 45 minutes late, I'll wave. You can come the next day, because remember, it'll be recorded and put online within 2 to 3 hours after class. Headphones, earbuds, music, don't. I had one student come in. No, I take that back. I've had more than one student sitting in the back row, and I could understand everything they're listening to up here. They ended up dropping. Down at the bottom. This is because of last fall. So I won't take daily attendance. Let me rephrase it. I will take daily attendance for about the first week or two, for the simple reason that we're required to. I'll take that back. The federal government kind of wants us to. What do I mean by that? The federal government wants to know that you are actually showing up for class if you are getting money. Why? Because you may not think so, but because the federal government owns you. It's not a student loan, it's a student own. All right? And if you're military and getting aid, man, you're doubly screwed. Okay? So, what that means is MTSU requires us, usually we have 2 weeks to do this, to take what's called, do attendance reporting. This semester, I've got to report your attendance next Wednesday. So that's today, Friday, Monday, essentially. That's crazy. Because you're still allowed to add classes, I think through Monday of next week, maybe. It might be that far. So, you're allowed 3 absences. It's a week. It's a 15-week semester. 1/15 of the week. You can screw off. Get blasted on Tuesday night, sleep in Wednesday morning, whatever. All right? Or get sick. It doesn't matter. You're allowed 3 absences. They don't count. After the attendance reporting stuff, I won't take attendance every day. It won't be the first thing I do. Probably it will depend on how many people show up. And this is why I said this has to do with last fall. Last fall, same course, 20/30, 2 sections. One of them had about 18 to 20 students. The other one had like 20 to 22. And after the first couple of weeks, the first class averaged somewhere between like 4 to 7 students a day. The second class averaged about 7 to 10. And sometime, I don't know, earlier mid-October, I thought, these people who show up every day ought to get some credit for showing up. And so I started, every now and then, usually about once a week, taking roll. Every one of them, 5 points. Extra. It's just for breathing and being there, okay? Not like for breathing at home, but for coming in and breathing here. So I reversed that this semester. Rather than giving 5 points to everybody who shows up, after those 3 absences, right? If you get a 4th absence, there will be just a -5. That gets taken away at the end of the semester from your total, right? It's not like if you have a 5 on a quiz, I'm going to go, screw you, -5, you got a 0, It's not how it works. No, kind of, in the long run, it's how it works. And each subsequent. So if you get 6, 7, 8, 9 absences, bear in mind, 9 absences, that's 3 weeks. That's 1/5 of the entire semester. Why pay? Why even come if you're going to do that? Or maybe somebody else will pay, in which case, have at it. Will be deducted from your overall points, okay? Why, this probably sounds scarier than it really is, and here's why. You're going to have somewhere between 10 to 15 quizzes. Probably closer to 15, maybe even a little bit more than that, because I've added something back in the syllabus that I have not done for a couple of years because I was able to find it online. So you probably have about 15 quizzes. I will probably drop 1 or 2, the lowest ones. So if you get a 0 on 1 quiz, that's dropped. It doesn't count against you at all right? The quizzes, most of them, will also have some extra credit, probably about 5 points. So if you have 10 quizzes, or 15 quizzes, let's say 10 quizzes, with 5 points possible extra credit, and you get all those 5 points, I mean, that really jacks up the total at the end. So if you miss a couple extra classes, it's not going to hurt you that much. The exams will also have extra credit, anywhere from 15 to 30 points on each one. Okay? If you want to fail this class, it is possible, but you really got to try. I had a student last fall who really tried and was successful. Actually, I had 2. I think 2 out of both those courses failed. Okay? One of them, yeah, because of this. Didn't do one of the exams. And oddly enough, it wasn't the final exam, it was the middle exam. Student did the first exam, did some of the quizzes, didn't do the second exam, did some more quizzes, did the final exam. When he didn't turn in the second exam, a couple days later, I emailed, I don't have your exam. Never got a response. About a week later, sent another email. You haven't gotten your drama exam. No response. Submitted final grades. This is the Monday after graduation, after finals week. All the grades were submitted. I actually had them submitted before then. And then the Wednesday or Thursday after that. So like a week after finals are all over, I get an email from the student. Is there anything I can do to raise my grade? I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, I got to get a so-and-so grade in this class so I can go to the bowl game. I'm like, no, you didn't do the exam. Well, can I take it now? No. And I copied and pasted the emails showing, and then silence, didn't hear anything. So, failure to complete or submit 3 or more quizzes. Again, that would be a fifth if we have 15. Okay? And or failure to submit an exam will result in failure of the course. Comment about quizzes and exams. They're all on D2L. Okay? Quizzes you'll have somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes. I think one of them might be 20 minutes to complete, all right? 10 to 15 questions, maybe. At least 10, maybe 15. So you'll have at least 10 to 15 minutes to complete those. Exams, you'll have anywhere from 60 minutes to 90 minutes to complete, okay? But once I send you an email or put an announcement up that says, X quiz is live and ready, you will have minimum 2 days to submit that quiz. You will more than likely have more like 4 to 5 days. Okay? So 4 to 5 day or 2 to 5 day window, that'll take you 10 or 15 minutes. Each of those days, for the first several quizzes, like 8 or 9, I'll send a reminder. You've got a quiz due. So-and-so night, 11:59 p.m. Or it'll be 11:59 p.m. the day and then the date. And then the next day, don't forget your quiz. Until the day that it's due, and the day that it's due, there will be a reminder. All right? Again, for the first 8 or 9. Probably by the time we get to 12 or 13, I'm not going to send out daily reminders. Why? Because you're all adults, folks. And you get on D2L, and for this class page, calendar's on the right-hand side, and the calendar shows you what is due. All right? For exams, you'll have 5 to 7 days. So you'll get a big, long window, okay? One thing about the exams. The exams are largely based on the quizzes. All right? Once you submit the quiz, you'll get your results. Well, I'll take that back. If it's a multiple choice kind of a thing, you'll get the results immediately. If it's a fill in the blank kind of thing, I've got to go through and grade each one. What does that mean? You may word something differently than I do. When I write the quiz and I put the answer into D2L, if your answer isn't verbatim what I put, it's marked as wrong. Artificial intelligence is really not that intelligent. Okay? It can't determine. Or if you spell an author's last name wrong, you forget a letter, it'll be counted as wrong. I go through and check every one. So I'll warn you right now, somebody after the first or second quiz is going to say, Dr. Sherman, I know I got all these right, even though I might have misspelled an author's name. And I'll say, don't worry, I go through each one and check everything, okay? After the quiz is done, assuming I get them all set up correctly, which I should, you'll be able to go back and review those quizzes for exams. You'll have access to them, in other words, okay? That is a smart way to prepare for an exam, again, because the exams are largely based on quizzes. Now, questions might be slightly massaged. That is, they might be worded slightly differently, not just copied and pasted, okay, to make you think a little bit, etc. All right? But make sure you do them. And if you don't do an exam, I will notify you. If you're doing really poorly by midterm, when we do our midterm reporting, I will put a message in that midterm reporting thing and we'll include in it we'll click the box for the advisor to contact you, okay? And it'll be probably something like, so-and-so, I had one last semester, so-and-so has missed, 6 of 9 classes and hasn't done so many quizzes. He or she should drop. And if you should drop, I'll let you know, okay? And there may be good reasons for that. I mean, there might be a good reason why you've missed something. Again, back to the previous comment, something horrendous happens. Let me know, okay? Grading's real easy. Total number of points possible, okay, versus the total number of points you earn. If there's 400 points possible and you've earned 200 points, you've got a 50%. That's not good. You want it to be higher than that, okay? If 400 points possible and you've got 360, you scraped that A, okay? 90 points, 90%, all right? And that's where I talk about, how much time you'll have for quizzes and exams. Okay, for the rest of today, I'm going to talk about this. Do I need to keep this up for anything? Because I needed to first class. 9:40. Yeah, we'll do this. So, big, long paragraph after the schedule. When reading material in the textbook, pay special attention to terms, words, phrases, etc., printed in bold. And notice I put it in bold to show you what bold looks like. For example, in the section of the text on plot, which I want you to read before Friday. There's a bunch of sections I want you to read before Friday. You'll see they're all right here, okay? You'll see such terms as plot, for example, on page 66. You'll see exposition on 72, rising action, 72, conflict, 73, foreshadowing, 73, etc. Those aren't all the terms that are on those pages. Those are just some I chose kind of at random. You need to know what those terms mean. Those terms will probably show up on quizzes and or exams, okay? Couple of things. When they are used in the book on those pages, a definition is given. It's given in a context, in a sentence. It's not, plot means, okay, but it's described, right? Similarly, if you go to the back of your book, pages 17, 17, and following, you have a glossary of terms, okay, alphabetically arranged. You could just go back to page 17, 17 and start, be real uber nerdy in memorizing all those terms. I don't suggest you do that by any means. Okay? I would go through this way and then maybe look to the back of the book also. If I were in your shoes, when I was in your shoes, just because I'm a PhD in English doesn't mean I was a great student. I wasn't. Undergraduate, I screwed around too much. Played soccer, ran track, I was a 7-year undergraduate. Take a year off, take a semester off, that kind of thing. 8 different majors before I finally, like in my senior year, decided on junior year, decided on English and such. But when I would have a class, if I had a class like this, I would write those terms down and then write down the definition. Why? I've read it, it's gone in my memory once there. I write it down, it goes again. I define it, it goes again. That's 3 different means, okay, of getting it in. Now, I will say, I've been blessed with a good memory. Well, used to be. I used to be able to remember, you could ask me for something, and I could tell you if you were to open a book, if it's on the right hand or left side page, and where on the page. Towards the top, towards the bottom, that kind of thing. A lot of things I still can. Okay? So you'll need to know those terms. You'll need to be able to define them, recognize them when they're used, et cetera, okay? If there are two sets of page numbers in parentheses, this is a little bit misleading. After an entry, first set refers to the pages in the 11th edition. The second set refers to the pages in the 10th edition. Here's where that's misleading. If you look at just this right here, you got two sets of pages, right? These two sets of pages aren't referring to the 10th and 11th editions. In this instance, or this instance, whichever one, this first set is giving you the brief biographical information about William Faulkner. Where he's born, where he lived, what he did, etc. The second set of pages gives you the pages for the short story Barn Burning, right? Here's where this is actually true. You got to go down a bit to reading drama. First set of numbers, seeing that up there, there's a comma after the first set, not a semicolon. Here, you've got a semicolon after the first set, and then I have 10th, 1383 to 85. So if you're using the 10th edition, probably a lot cheaper, okay? Beginning with drama, you've got the inclusive page numbers in that book. I just forgot to update the earlier part of the syllabus last week when I rewrote this. It's not just updating because I kind of pretty much redid it entirely. Is that clear? Okay. And then the rest of the syllabus is just, all the assigned readings and things like that. You'll notice when we get down to here, to drama, even though Oedipus the King is in the textbook, we're not using that version of Oedipus the King. We're using this version. This is a link in the syllabus, and there's a PDF under the content tab under Sophocles. Okay? There's a PDF link to this so you can download it. And the only reason I'm doing that is because this is a better translation than Robert Greene's. Well, I shouldn't say better because I don't know ancient Greek, but it's the one I prefer because the very last line of this play is just a killer. And Fagles' translation nails that last line, gives them a much better version of it. And then we're going to do, Oedipus the King some more, and then Antigone is also going to be on PDF, okay? We could skip over, we're going to be a bunch of drama and stuff, and then when we get down to poetry, there's also going to be some things, for example, there are links to, that you'll need to print out, etc. Okay? Okay, let me keep this up here for a moment. So, nope, back down there. 947. For Friday, here's what I want you to do. I want you to read all this material up here, okay, and Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Minister's Black Veil. So, skipping this for a moment, Nathaniel Hawthorne's Minister's Black Veil, the first 6 pages that are assigned, that's background information, biographical information about Hawthorne. Some of you probably were forced to suffer through Hawthorne in high school. Something like, what did you read? Scarlet Letter, more than likely. It's cruel and unusual punishment. Violates the 8th Amendment to the Constitution. You shouldn't be forced to read that. I don't know why. Anyways. Minister's Black Veil. It's a short story. It's like 7.5 pages. Okay? So that's the easy part for Friday. Because when we come in Friday, all we're going to do is we're going to talk about Hawthorne's Minister's Black Veil. Okay? And we'll probably be behind by the time we finish that class. because more than likely, even though it's only 7.5 pages, I'll probably blather on too long, like I've already done today. But also, I want you to read this material. Now notice, if you look at all of that, you'll probably go, there's close to a couple hundred pages there. You want me to read that, plus the short story before Friday? Get out of here. I'm going to drop this class and take somebody else's. Okay. Let me close the door at this moment. You don't want to drop this class and take somebody else's for the simple reason that if you take another 20, 30 course, you're going to probably write at least 3 papers. There are no papers assigned in this class. Okay? So some of you are going, yes, I'll give you the address where you can send checks and things like that later. For the simple reason, I've been here 30 years. If you want to kill a burgeoning desire in somebody, that is a desire that is maybe, the little seedling has just burst out of the ground and it's just now starting to grow and thrive. Make them write something about it. And it's like just decapitate it right then and there. They're going to go, I hate this. What? Why? See, my approach to this course is, what I want to do is I want to partially, if at all possible, instill some kind of desire on your part to, if you don't already read, maybe to start reading for fun, for pleasure, that kind of thing. 2, to think about some important issues raised in a variety of literature. 3, to maybe want to, at some point in the future, come back to one or more of these works of literature. And 4, to plant in you some of the ideas that are in these books, stories, poems, plays, that in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years maybe, you'll be doing something, your life will have gone on, you'll be talking with somebody, and that light bulb will go off, and you'll go, damn, that's exactly what we were talking about. And you'll go back and want to reread Oedipus the King about fate and destiny, and can you escape, etc. Or Antigone, the play we'll read after that, about a woman who stands up against the full might and power of the state. This is written in 5th century BC Greece, when women had no voice, had no power, had nothing. Nothing. Not like, a lot of feminists today say, oh, we're under the patriarchy. It's nothing compared to what women didn't have in 5th century BC Greece. Okay? So, back to this. Yeah, there's probably close to 200 pages total, maybe 150 in all of that. In an ideal world, I would say, read it all, but I'm not going to. Why? Here's why. Lights are coming on. Lights are coming on, thank you. Close. Display controls, off. Turn that up. Because the bold terms that I want you to know, or that you need to learn for the purposes of quizzes and exams, and also because they will help you better appreciate and understand the stuff we're going to be reading for fiction, are on these specific pages. Within the largest set of pages in the syllabus. Okay? So, look at this first set of pages, 66 and 67 and 72 and 73. If you look at the syllabus says for plot, pages 66 to 106. It's 40-some pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. 40-some pages has just been reduced to 4. Why? Because it's only on these 4 pages that there are terms in bold print that I want you to know. The rest of those 36 pages are short stories, which help give examples of the terms that are on these 4 pages. If you want to read those short stories, have at it. Go for it. I encourage you to. One of them's a great short story. It takes maybe 3 minutes to read. Kate Chopin's The Story of an Hour. It's not more, I think maybe like a page and a half or 2 pages. And it'll stick with you for a while, especially if you're a woman, because you're going to go, no, this isn't right. Kind of thing, all right? But various terms, and the first one, plot. By the way, plot, character, setting, point of view, symbolism, theme, style, tone, irony, those are kinds of the titles of these sections in the book. Think of them as chapters if you want. So, plot. What's plot? Well, plot. Dictionary, textbook definition, the author's arrangement of incidents in a story. That's it. Plot usually involves what? Beginning, middle, end. But some stories don't begin in the beginning, they begin in the middle. And then you get flashback terms that are used. They begin in medias res, that's in the middle, okay? So, can you plot out your life? Like an author can plot out a story. Not when you're born. You don't go, when you're a baby, by the time I'm 18, you can plan. How can you plot your life today? You can do everything from the beginning till today, to right now, literally. Because what could happen in the next 5 minutes? Anything, right? I mean, God forbid, knock on wood, there is no wood in this freaking classroom. Everything's plastic, concrete. A crazy former student could come in. Happens every year at a university in the United States. Somebody shoots up a university, okay? And we don't last till this afternoon or tomorrow or the next, I know, morbid, things just got, okay? So, you can plot up until now, and you can plan for tomorrow. You can plan for the future, but that's not the same, right? So there's a bunch of terms used there. Actually, not a bunch. I don't know, 5, 6, 7, something like that. Next section, character. What's character? What does every story have? Blank in the Sorcerer's Stone. What's the blank?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, thank you. If you don't have a character, then you just have in the Sorcerer's Stone. So it's got a character. How do authors create characters? Well, the book's going to talk about that. By the way, big clue. Actually, it's not a clue. I'm giving you the answer to a quiz right now, or telling you what is not the answer. Because I'll take that back. Some of you are going to try to cheat on the quizzes because they're online. They're on D2L. And you might go, Sherman, you're so stupid. You rely on my honor, etc. Or I'm going to pull up, the quiz on my laptop or a computer, and I'm going to have Google on my phone, and I'm going to Google the questions because I can do that quickly. And you're going to say, how does an author create characters? Number one response will be through indirect and direct characterization. That's not the right answer. The right answer, now I'm giving it to you, is showing and telling. Showing and telling. What does that mean, showing and telling? If you're telling me about somebody, what are you doing?
Just straight up saying.
You're straight up describing. Boring. Showing means the character is doing what?
Showing you who they are.
Character is speaking, the character is thinking, the character is acting. Which of those is quote unquote better? Which of those makes more believable, more real characters? Showing. Okay? And so when you get to there, you're going to have stuff about motivation, stuff about plausibility, stuff about round and flat characters, dynamic, static, characters that change, characters that don't change, etc., etc. Think, if you've ever seen one, an old Cowboys and Indians movie from the 1930s. Old Western. Who always wears white? The good guys. Who always wears black? The bad guy. Darth Vader, right? Star Wars is nothing but a Western set in space. That's all it is. That's why they're often called, when it first came out, a space Western, a space opera. I'm going to leave in just a moment, okay? So, that setting. What setting? How does Star Wars begin? The original, the real one, not this stupid prequels. How does it begin?
A galaxy far, far away.
Exactly. Words move up the screen. Never been done before. In a galaxy far, far away. What's that telling us? It's not just in a galaxy far, far away. It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. We have two elements of setting there. Time, location. Okay? What else can be part of setting? Cultural setting. First story we're going to read, Minister's Black Veil, is set in Puritan New England. Shortly after, take that back. We don't know the exact date. Puritan New England is most famous for the Salem witch trials. I'm directly related to Nathaniel Hawthorne. Nathaniel Hawthorne was directly related to the governor who was responsible for the burning of the so-called witches. Drove him batty. Hawthorne dealt with family guilt. That's why all of his stories are bleak. Okay? So, setting. Next section, point of view. From whose perspective is the story narrated? Why are none of the Harry Potter novels Neville Longbottom and the Deathly Hallows? Because they're not about Neville Longbottom, they're about Harry Potter. And they're told somewhat from Harry's perspective. So, do you have an omniscient narrator? Because omniscient means literally what? All-knowing. So do we dive into this person's mind and hear her thoughts, and her thoughts, and his thoughts, and his thoughts, and her thoughts, so that we know what everybody's thinking, even if they don't say anything? Possibly. Limited omniscient, we only know her thoughts, and the rest of you are, ciphers to be figured out? Possibly. Third person, objective, we don't know what anybody's thinking unless they tell us. Okay? Stream of consciousness, like my discussions. It's, what I think, it comes out. Garbage out, garbage in, kind of a thing, right? One of the most impossible novels to read is called Ulysses by James Joyce. A couple of reasons. Its entire stream of consciousness. As he thought, he wrote. And he kept rewriting the damn thing. Like 20 revisions. If you pick up a copy of Ulysses today that shows all of the changes, you cannot finish it. Well, you probably can't hold it. The novel itself would be bigger and thicker than this. Make the Lord of the Rings look like Goodnight Moon, okay? So point of view. Symbolism. Probably what killed you in high school because your teacher said, you have to understand the A stands for, You might not catch the symbols that I see. Why? Because I'm nearly 61 and I've been doing this for 30 years. I have much better glasses than you do. And because I've lived a lot more. All right? But symbolism, theme. You've all had to write about themes before. You've all had to write theme papers. Flannery O'Connor, there's going to be a bit of a letter, wrote to somebody and said, if you can essentially tell the theme of my story in a sentence or in a paragraph, then I'm not a good writer. In other words, it takes all the words of the story to get the point across, okay? She's right, but she also goes on to say that doesn't mean that you can't talk about the theme, right? Another writer we're going to read, William Faulkner, said he's a novelist because he's not a poet. What? He said, I take a lot more words to say what I want to say than a poet does. A poet is the better writer, according to Faulkner. A poet uses the fewest words to say the most, according to Faulkner. And Faulkner used a lot of words. The first thing we're going to read, the only thing we're going to read by him, The entire first paragraph, if I remember correctly, is one sentence. It's several hundred words long, or a couple hundred words long, okay? So theme. Last part, style, tone, irony. How an author arranges words, uses words, chooses words, okay? Tone, what the author's attitude is towards what he or she is writing, okay? And irony. Give me a one-word example of irony. Another word that is part of irony, that we all use daily. Sarcasm. Let's say your quizzes were written, and you turn in a quiz and you get a 0 out of 10. Or an exam, you get a 0 out of 100. And I write, well done! Exclamation, and give it back. That means I'm being a snotty SOB. It's sarcastic, right? It doesn't mean, really, good job, you can do that again. No. It probably means you're dumber than a rock, you should leave. Just quietly. Okay? Sarcasm. There are other kinds of irony. So, all those terms for fiction that I want you to know, they're on these pages. There's fewer than 30 pages there. A lot fewer than 30 pages. Maybe 20 pages. As opposed to probably well over 100 or 150 pages in the larger thing. Because within all of these pages that are in the syllabus, there are more and more and more short stories. All right? Only story I want you to read for Friday, Minister's Black Veil, Hawthorne's biography. All right? That's it. I will put up a quiz. It won't be today, might be tomorrow. You'll have a few days. But that quiz will be entirely extra credit. It's to show you what one of my quizzes looks like. It'll be based on this stuff. Okay? All right. Have a good day. See you on Friday.